Hey, scrappy people. Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with yet another Hawaii layout. This one focuses more on our Disney, not trip, but we stayed at Aulani, which is the Disney resort in Hawaii for the first few days. We're not big Disney people. I mean, I like Disney just fine, but I wouldn't consider myself a Disney adult. But my nephew and my sister are big Disney people, so that's where he had his wedding. I am using a template by Cindy Schneider from Sweet Shop Designs again, and the Magical Resort collection that Megan of Studio Flurgs made specifically because I asked. It was so nice of her. I said, hey, you do all these beautiful Disney collections. Can you make me an Aulani one? And she came through. I do have a couple of things that are from her Polynesian, no, not Polynesian Princess, that's Moana. I'm not sure what the Lilo and Stitch one is called, but from the Lilo and Stitch collection, I have that red paper that I adjusted the color slightly so it would match this collection better. And then the titles are actually from the template itself. So to save myself ink and paper, instead of printing out an entire backgrounds that were going to be layered together where you only saw these corner pieces. Instead, I just printed out the corner pieces so that they would fit perfectly around this diamond in the center, and you wouldn't even know, especially when the layout's done, that they are not full pieces of paper. It saves me time, saves me money, and it saves bulk on the page, which I'm going to add to the page in a different way, so that's a good thing. Here was another paper that I printed just the corners that showed. And I really love the color scheme of this page, which actually is not not even close to the color scheme of the collection that Megan made. I just pulled out a few select colors to match our photo, since our photo is very heavily blue with some pops of red. I decided to go with mostly the greens. There's going to be some blue too, but mostly the greens in the Magical Resort collection, and pops of red and blue here and there, as well as the wood grain. So I'm just trying to make sure that the stars are aligned from this print. I printed out each of these pieces with the confetti stars from the Magical Resort collection already on them, but it's supposed to kind of look like it's scattered across the tops of all of the papers. So I printed them individually on each paper so that I wouldn't have to do something like a clear sticker or something like that to make sure it spans the whole page. Alright, so I have a triple photo mat here, which again, you're not really going to see these very well. They're very, very layered, but I liked the effect of all three together, so I decided to go ahead and use them all, even though you barely see any of it. Okay, put that down, and then I will put my photo over the top, and the photo is just kind of centered right in the middle of the page. So this template actually had a ton of flowers and leaves underneath that main photo mat, but I decided to take those off and use those palm trees that you see over there instead. I thought that they would work better for this page as a hybrid page, because sometimes when you have a lot of layered flowers that looks somewhat realistic, it doesn't look as good as the illustrated embellishments, to me at least. I'm not a huge photorealistic scrapbooker. Unless it's digital, then I'm fine with it. But like in real life, I don't buy the stickers that look photorealistic. I buy the illustrated stickers. So I decided to go with mostly illustrated looking things. So that led me to the palm trees. And what we're basically doing here is creating symmetry with an anchor point across the bottom, which is going to be the title. So we have a big old surfboard, and this is where I bring in a lot of the blue. We have a big old surfboard, and that's going to be where our title goes. I'm going to start building up all of these clusters, making sure everything is where it needs to be. So both of these palm trees are going to frame the page, or frame the photo. And what I did was I just took one palm tree embellishment, and I flipped it horizontally before I printed it so that it is the mirror image of the other palm tree, and that creates a good frame. So now I should have thought ahead, which I never do, of course. And this is going to be squished between the photo and the photo mats because I don't want the palm fronds to go over anyone's faces, and this is a pretty closely cropped photo, so they need to go behind. And of course I didn't think about that before I started putting things down because I just never do. So I'm just pulling up the photo. It doesn't really matter if it rips underneath because we're not going to see it. And right now I am thankful, or in a few minutes I'm going to be thankful, that I didn't use liquid glue on these palm trees because that palm tree is going to move up. So I'm showing you here that I printed and glued together multiple copies of these letters to make them thick like actual chipboard or actual wood veneer. They are a faux red wood veneer looking alphabet. It's not an alphabet, it's the title from the template. So I wanted to add a little dimension to this page by making them sort of thick. I did that as well with the subtitle, though not quite as thick, so that it doesn't stand out from the page as much. But you can see that that really adds some really cool depth to the page. So a really fun trick to do if you're missing a little bit of that textural element on your pages, you can just print. You don't even have to print multiple copies of these letters. You just have to cut multiple copies. So anything below the top can actually just be plain white cardstock. You don't have to waste ink and print. But unfortunately, my silhouette messed up a couple of times when cutting out these embellishments, so I had lots of copies of Ohana cut out, so I just went ahead and used a bunch of them. I think there's 6 altogether underneath there, and then the subtitles have 3. Just gonna add in all of these embellishments, and this is when I realized that my palm tree is too low. I'm gonna add in all of these embellishments to the page and move this palm tree up very carefully, taking it up from the paper so that it doesn't rip anything, especially the palm tree, but anything underneath would be catastrophic too. I'd have to leave it where it was to cover up the rip, but we did it. Phew, wasn't on there long enough to cause a problem. So I'm gonna move this up, and then that gives me more room at the bottom underneath it to add in these embellishments. I love this Mickey ears with the wave in the middle. I messed that one up. It was lucky I had a second copy. Then I'll put the flowers behind it. Lots of cute little flowers on this page. I did bring in some extra color with the flowers. Some of them kind of deviate from the color palette just a little bit, and I think that's okay. Not everything has to be perfectly matched. I know that as a as a digital scrapbooker or somebody who was in that part of the industry only for a long time, I know that the average customer really wants things to match. That's why we buy entire kits. But sometimes bringing in a couple of extra colors just gives it that pop that it needs anyway. So we have a little bit of orange and pink on the flowers. Orange and pink verging into purple on that one. I'm going to do a second Mickey ear here just for some balance. And I really like the way that it adds blue to the page as well, because I thought it needed another spot of blue up away from the bottom cluster. So then I'm going to go ahead and put down Ohana. It says Ohana means family, of course. So the means stuck together, but I had a little gap between the letters in family, so they cut out separately. You're not even going to be able to tell. It just makes it easier when it all cuts out as one piece, but that's okay. All right, Ohana means family. I have my journaling already printed on the background paper. I'm going to bring in some of these enamel dots. So I don't know which color I'm going to choose yet. I'm kind of going through. I have these sorted. I have gone through and sorted my enamel dots by not necessarily color, but warmth. And what I mean by that is sometimes green is yellow, like a yellowy green, and sometimes green is bluish. So I went ahead and sorted them by warmth, whether or not it was a cool green or, well, it's basically only applied to the green, some purples too. Whether or not it was a cool green or a blue green. I need blue green for this page. So that was genius on my part, if I do say so myself. perfect. I added in some sort of yellow gold to the star scatter, and then I added in these green ones to frame out the bottom title portion just to make it look more interesting. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm looking through more enamel dots. I'm going to add enamel dots to the centers of these flowers that kind of match the enamel dots that are already there, or not the enamel dots, but the centers that are already there. Again, just little touches to bring it from a digital page, or what used to be a digital page, into a physical page. This is my stash of just random bits, and so I was thinking about adding in these wood veneer leaves, but instead I'm going to go with this this heart thought bubble, and I'm going to dye it red to match the red veneer that I used for the wood and bring those two pieces together. And then I'm going to let it dry a little bit. I'm also going to paper towel dry it because I am impatient. And then I'm going to glue it right above Mickey, and that's going to finish this page. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. And I will see you next time. Thank you.